like and subscribe. At what point did you realize you were actually kind of a cool person? When I started preschool, everyone wanted to be my friend because I could read law. I think I was in my mid-40s. Up until age 40, I was married to someone that was more subtly critical than I realized at the time. Post-divorce, I surrounded myself with people that liked me better. I realized that teenagers liked my apartment. I got a professional reputation that includes wearing a pirate hat. I started liking myself much better. Yesterday I was chatting with some friends in VR and there was some petty drama happening in an adjacent group of friends that one of my male friends was in. Someone from that group came to him for emotional support and I happened to be there. With permission I gave my 2 cents and was basically telling them good life advice, i.e. worry about yourself first. Other people's actions/emotions aren't your responsibility. Remember to check in on how you feel in the relationship too. ECT. At one point the person turned to my friend, and with a relieved sigh I asked him, "How do you find people like this?" This was definitely a little surprising, because I spent a huge part of my life in an anxious, unstable mental state, and was definitely part of my fair share of toxic dynamics. It gave me pause, and I felt pretty good about myself right then. Maybe I'm not so bad after all. 27. This year when I decided to stop hating myself and holding myself to standards others put on me that I then put on myself, I realized I don't even want to be the person that I was trying so hard to be, and trying was making me miserable. It helps that I have a fantastic husband that sees my value. Someone said that I'm equally fun sober. Lol, I got a DM from a 24-year-old on Reddit, and we got chatting. After a while he announced that there was no way he believed I'm 55, because of my language and sense of humor, and I got his social media and pop culture references. I don't know if that was a compliment or not. He said people in their 50s were dinosaurs that wouldn't use slang like IDK until. I recently invited a friend camping. It was last minute, so I sorted all the equipment. I picked her up, and when I opened the back of the car, she immediately remarked, "I knew you'd be incredibly organized. Look at all this. You know my roommate and I are always talking about how we aspire to be your level of put together one day." Her roommate was someone I used to work with. IDK, I thought it was quite cool that people thought I had my together. I was cool from college until about 3 years ago when my daughter decided I wasn't it. A year ago a guy was following my car for directions, and I had my hand either out the window or out the sunroof. When we got to where we were going I walked up to his truck, and he was like, "Can you just stop being so cool? I don't know how you do it. It is so naturally you." I felt pretty cool there. When I graduated college and got a job that required working in the wilderness and living in a tent, felt way more at home than I ever did in the city. Now I have been a park ranger for 5 years, have a lot of cool outdoor hobbies, a van that I built to travel in, and I try my best to be the outdoor goddess mentor that I wished to have. When I began going to anime and comic conventions, cosplay was an emergence for me. I was popular for the first time in my life by the end of the first event. It is really about who you surround yourself with, and being kind to yourself. I was finally able to let loose and indulge. Conventions showed me that it is not so weird to be weird. It is normal. I am glad I moved out of my comfort zone. I hope sometime in the future before I die. When I realized that cool people are the ones who don't care about being cool, they are just authentically themselves. When I started viewing the older version of myself as I'm awesome. Sometimes, I'll find myself reminiscing old times, and giving myself credit for handling life a certain way. Then I realized that the person I'm giving credit to is literally me. It's still me. If anything, I'm even better now. Still in the process. I know I'm cooler than I used to believe. But I'm still in the process of working on my confidence issues. It's when I traveled to New York City on my own when I was 24. Thank God I will never be a student again. Gift from myself to myself. By becoming an ESL student for a month, because I'm full of fun contradiction like that. Anyway, I worked my 4 years to pay for it. I made arrangements with the ESL company by myself. Being there all by myself, and knowing absolutely no one. I realized that I actually was resourceful, a good problem solver on my own right, not as shy or socially inept as I was led to believe, and smart. It's also around the time that I stopped hanging around judgmental condescending jerks with very limited definitions of what it meant to be an adult and what an adult is allowed to enjoy. So, that helped a lot too. It wasn't until my mid-30s, which was a few years ago. I've been told I'm super chill and easy to talk to, and I don't judge people. Are like me. When I was helping my community, volunteering, I was living the values I admired in others. Well, it all started when I was born. I'm kidding. During middle school, when I realized a lot of people wanted to hang out with me, was told it was because I was funny. I never really thought about it until I started dating recently, and people were saying it to me. And I realized that I shouldn't depend on other people saying it to me. I should realize that's true for myself too. So I've been spending time becoming the cool person I'm perceived as, tuning up my style, reading and learning, finding hobbies I'm interested in. Basically becoming confident in the things I enjoy. I feel pretty cool now. A few years ago, I met some people on a chat app, and we totally hit it off. When I met them in person, and they were also genuinely nice to me, and laughing at my jokes. I have never felt like I was part of the cool kids before. But whenever we go out, I kinda feel like how I assume the cool kids felt in 90s movies. I am still friends with them, and some of them I cannot imagine not having in my life. I am not. I am 39, a mom of 2, and an overweight high school English teacher. On my side, I have awesome dry sarcastic wit, so I guess that is something. Yeah, I kinda realized it when I stopped caring about what other people had to say about me. I just held myself to my own standards. Maybe about 16 or 17. It was when I discovered GRRRL was a thing, and I embraced it, and became hella cool. When I stopped giving a if people thought I was cool or not, huge weight off. I didn't really notice that I was cool. It was more of a process. Ever since I was really little, I've known what kind of person I wanted to be. I knew how I wanted people to perceive me, so I continued to sculpt myself into the person that I saw in my mind. It's a constant process, so I think I'm kinda cool, not just for being the person I am, but for trying to continue to better myself. I agree that you're cool. Somewhere in high school, I am pretty funny naturally. 2 years ago, when I was 21, I received the nicest compliment I can honestly imagine. I think about it every time I get down on myself, and I realize I have a lot going for me. Oh, what was the compliment? I was visiting some friends, and I was leaving their house, and I had said goodbye, but paused to eavesdrop just for a second. I heard one friend say, "She's a cool girl." My heart melted, and I quietly closed the door with a smile on my face. When I started doing all of the things that my ex told me I did not like to do, and made us so different as an attractive single woman without his gaslighting. Around 18. I had finished high school, and for all my life until then I had tried so hard to be liked by everyone, but mostly the cool kids of the school. It made me look very shallow, and annoying and needy and weird. I did not understand it until I changed environment after high school. I didn't know anyone at the uni, so I had to start from scratch, and not knowing who the cool kids were, I didn't fall into the same trap, so I just started to be myself. Turns out people like me when I'm me. Even the cool kids. I've never tried again, and accepted that, if someone doesn't like me, it's okay, I don't have to try and please everyone. Also learned the meaning of friendship. 23. I started going to kink parties alone, and realized how independent and confident I was, and had a blast meeting so many different people every weekend. Started playing guitar around this age too, and got into Ostomingo. My hobbies gave me a greater sense of self, and thrust me into different communities. How do you even know where to start with going to these? Even when I thought I was, I knew I wasn't. Edit, from Almost Famous. When I first got on FB, and began reconnecting with people, females remembered me for my fashion sense and my cute tricks. Males remembered me because they would learn about new music and we were always switching CDs and tapes. I was in my early 30s, with 2 young children at the time, and their words really struck a chord within me. Why was not I enjoying life more? When did I stop? I think it was the only good thing to come out of FB, for me. Around 6 to 10. When a young woman who had only known me at work for 7 years, since she graduated, said she wanted to grow up to be like me. For context, we forged steel, so it was hot heavy work and most of the women were there to catch themselves a good man. I was just there to make a decent living for myself. I haven't come to that realization yet, might never. When my best friend showed me the real me. Once I figured out I did not need approval from anybody. Then I started acting more like me, and not other people, and I made a lot of epic friends who liked me for me. I went to a graduation party this summer, and one of the students, I didn't have them in class, told me I seemed like a really cool teacher. Rode that high all the way through our first few days back this week. You probably are. As a student, I secretly, but also not secretly, hope that every single teacher I compliment or write a thank you letter to gets a massive dopamine rush, and for it to last as long as it possibly can, because people like you deserve it. I bet that student had some really good reasons why they got such positive vibes from you. Give yourself some cream. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.